So we are standing here with Grace Markman, who has graced the walls of the Brooklyn Creative League with her latest series, Going.
It's always a process. It's always working towards what you don't know, and I'm an artist who doesn't preconceive where she's going. And that's, in a way, the name of the show is Going. I mean, you're going, you're working. It's a life force that keeps moving. And painting is, in fact, that. For me, it's a way to see the world. So I explore that through paint, through the basics of paint, color, brush stroke, and imagery. And the imagery itself is about going. And this sort of is some of the earliest works. There are cars that are going.
I mean, so many artists sometimes come from this anxiety as opposed to kind of a fluidity that it seems like you're really able to work with.
That's
which is great. Yeah.
Great word you said, fluidity. And I think it's energy in motion. I want this work to be energy in motion. To relate to it is that force.
How does that kind of inform your process? I know you do a lot of kind of additive and subtractive sort of things, and so can you talk a little bit about what the process is for these?
So I unified everything with a toned background. So I decided to work with a toned background, and that was the only unifying factor. I left it in that manner.
So these were more additive, kind of you started with
was
this tone and then you
additive,
built
yeah.
up.
So that's an additive.
Whereas maybe this one,
Yeah,
did
this
this
is
have more subtractive?
very subtractive. Sandpaper.
Yeah.
Sandpaper
Yeah, I've seen the little
and
things in your studio, yeah.
they look very simple, but they take a long period. They evolve over time. As I said, part of 6 or 8 perhaps.
Yeah. What's the impact point?
And what's the simplest and most direct way to say that?
Right. Right.
What is that essence? And that takes a winnowing process. It is a process of elimination. I try to start in a simple way and just keep going.
Right.
Failure is
Going.
And failure is fine for me. I mean, I really do throw things out.
I also really love the works on paper with the watercolor. So these are some of the watercolors and the capsule series.
Yes.
And kind of the different works that you've been making. Can you tell us a little bit about how they are different from the other kind of vessels that you're creating?
It's interesting. The car theme, those 2 cars came together, and these are paired now. They're side by side. And this is an attachment to a capsule. Rocket is another form of energy. Capsule is a release of energy. It's so I'm taking forms that reflect energy and its release in the world and its place in the world, and letting the viewer complete that for themselves. I don't complete things. I offer, and I think that's what art is. It's this offer.
Yeah.
An offer for a conversation, to reflect back in your own experience. And I take simple color and I let it be something larger, I hope.
Right.
And blue, water, sky, depth, ocean.
How personal are these images for you?
Painting and art for me is an equivalent process. It's its own language, it's its own way, and what you do is work, I do anyway. Each artist is different, but you find an equivalent form for your lived experience. So here we are in this part of the gallery, and this was the first piece. This is the planes that are both here and covered, and this took a million years. This took months and months and months, and this is very heavily erased.
Do you experience in terms of, because you're talking about moving forward and interaction, and so there are kind of different types of
interaction,
vessels and interactions, but also the kind of subjects themselves have different personas almost. So these
true.
planes versus the cars versus this different type of
Yeah.
car. Is there an intention behind
Yes.
the personas?
Exactly so. It's always moving and never arriving, and in a way that's what happens with these vehicles too. In particular in this painting, this is about interactions, and we're all on our own schedule, yet we are together and we pass through this world together through our interactions. This is a This is car, river, ocean, forest that just sort of pushes forward in, almost like a sun car. It's like a light car. It's like the energy that we contain moves forward into that space.
So we want to thank Grace for having her work be here in the space of Brooklyn Creative League, and for also sharing kind of a little bit of a inside scoop as to her process, and as well as kind of the creation of these forms. And we're excited to see them keep going and see what lies ahead for her in the future. So thank you so much, Grace.